Now, one of our main stories this morning is taking a look at a liquid-only diet of just 800 calories a day. It's going to be prescribed to thousands of patients with type 2 diabetes.
NHS in England is piloting the treatment after a trial helped more than half of those involved to reverse the condition.
Let's tell you a little bit more about the facts. In the UK, more than 3 million people live with type 2 diabetes. It's a condition that's strongly linked to diet and lifestyle. Now, treating people with type 2 diabetes costs the NHS £8.8 billion a year.
According to Public Health England, the number of diabetics will rise by 1 million by 2035. Susan Jebb is one of the researchers behind the NHS pilot. Father Paul Lomas lost 3.5 stone on a low-calorie diet. His type 2 diabetes is now
gone.
It is gone.
In remission.
That's remarkable.
Absolutely.
I mean, just backtrack for us a little bit. Over what period of time? So
9 weeks.
Over 9 weeks. You went on
I went on the crash diet and was on the programme for BBC, the big crash diet experiment.
Yeah. And what condition were you in at that point? I mean, you were overweight?
Well, I was nearly 20 stone.
Yeah.
And I had type 2 diabetes. I was on 2 drugs, one of which really does sort of kicks the pancreas into producing insulin. So in the end, your pancreas collapses on you, so you finish up having injections. So and it's chronic, you're told. So that's the way I thought I was going. But I go on this diet, and within 9 weeks, lost the weight, and had lots of scans, MRI scans on my liver, and there we are. There it was. No more. I didn't need any more drugs for it.
Paul, do you recognise yourself there?
Yes, it's a fascinating photo, isn't it? That one, really.
Oh, well, we don't need to go into the wheres and whys of how that photo was taken and what. But it does show the weight that you had on. And tell me how you did it, because this new plan, and Susan, we will talk to you in just a moment. Right. This new plan looks at limiting calories, liquid, the shakes and things like that. I think it's around 800, 900 calories a day. What were you?
I was doing 800 calories a day, 4 products. And
were you permanently hungry?
No. Because the way your body chemistry works, the first few days we were together. And I'm not going to say it was easy, but, you know, your body does.
Because, Susan, I think people, if they're watching, thinking, I need to tackle this. They may not be convinced that their diabetes will completely reverse, but they know they need to tackle weight. But the thought of going on an 800, I mean, I don't consider myself overweight, but I thought of going on an 800 calorie a day diet would frighten me.
Well, you shouldn't think about going on an 800 calorie diet because you're not overweight. But for people who are seriously overweight, actually, what we've shown is that this can be a really good option. It's, if you like, it's the short, sharp shock treatment as opposed to the slow and steady weight loss, and both of them can work, but some people find it easier to put all their energy into a couple of months. You feel like, I could just do this for a couple of months. That feels more achievable. So what we want to say is there's good evidence from trials that have now been done that around about half of people with type 2 diabetes who try this approach by 1 year will be free of their diabetes. Their diabetes will be in remission. So it's not the answer for everybody, but it's worth giving it a go.
A couple of things
and I'm surprised how many people find it acceptable, more than perhaps we would have imagined.
A couple of things, sorry for interrupting, a couple of things spring to mind. Why didn't we do this sooner? I mean, it doesn't sound, in a funny kind of way, it doesn't sound like rocket science.
Sure.
You know, we've known for a long time that weight is such a clear pathway to type 2 diabetes, and weight loss is achievable in a short space of time. Why didn't we do it before?
Well, you're right. And in specialist clinics, this has been being done for some time, but for relatively small numbers of people. And I think there's been a concern that, firstly, maybe it's not acceptable for most people, and perhaps you need really, really specialist doctors and nurses taking care of you. What these new trials have done is they've been done in primary care, and they've showed that in very routine healthcare settings, we can do this. It's more acceptable to people than we imagined. It's effective and it's safe, and regular doctors and nurses can support people to make these changes. Or we can refer people to other providers in the community who can provide that support. And it's really important to remember this is about a low-calorie diet but it's also about behavioural support. So you have 8 or 9 weeks losing weight, but then you've got to come back to normal food, and you need help and support to do that so that you can keep the weight off.
How has that part been? Coming back
it's
after?
done on a one basis. So the person who came to me and weighed me and brought me the products in my own home, it wasn't a case of going, you know how you go somewhere to a hall somewhere for public humiliation. There was none of that. They came to your home, and there was proper guidance, and that's what's happening now. I mean, I cook one meal a day, and I'm sensible in what I cook and how much I cook, and I still basically, you know, have a couple of products and a couple of meals.
It's a chance to break old habits.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's a very simple rule. For a short period of time, just have these products.
Can you make clear that this is targeting those who are overweight, who have just recently been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? There isn't a suggestion for people who aren't overweight, who have type 2 diabetes, that theirs can be reversed through something like this?
We don't know that. Those trials haven't been done. So at the moment, research is definitely ongoing to find out what can we do for people who are not overweight. They perhaps need a slightly different approach. But one of the interesting things about this is it's changed the way we think about diabetes. Doctors used to think this was a condition you just need to learn to manage. Now, actually, we're saying maybe we can actually reverse this, or at least delay the time before people develop diabetes. That's going to take quite a culture change for doctors to shift the way of thinking. And what we now need to see is that when you're first diagnosed, that the first thing we say is try losing some weight, because give it a go. You may be able to put off the moment at which you need further treatment.
Yeah, Paul, everyone will be thinking the same thing. It's so good that it put you in so much better place. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not just the diabetes, my blood pressure. I took a couple of medications for blood pressure, no medication for blood pressure. I have sleep apnea, and that's reduced the occurrences of that by about 75%.
Well, thank you for sharing.
It's been a win-win for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing the story with us this morning. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As well.
Thank you.